welcome back to my channel. We finally managed to get all of the members of Women's Wear here to do a video. So you know Lola now, you're well acquainted. Flip the hair for them. And then we've also got lovely Val. So say hi. Hi. She's here under duress if she, seems a bit anti. It's because she is.
Nothing personal, guys.
But,
not really my thing, but yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, we're going to talk to you guys today about influencing and how to get influencing if you've got a brand. Tell you guys some of our stories, the good, the bad and the ugly that we've had with influencers. And yeah, just really like from a brand's perspective how the whole social media influencing works. So let's get into it. For those of you that don't know, aren't aware what an influencer is, it's basically a person that encourages people to buy a product. When I say encourage, it's not so much that they're persuading you to do it, it's just that people like that person for a particular thing, whether it's clothes, the jewelry they wear, the home recommendations that they give, and they follow that person for that thing. So anything the person says to buy, people flock to buy it. So how that intertwines with businesses and companies is that literally it's amazing, because you can go to an influencer, get them to promote your item, and they will promote it, and that will just give your item more brand awareness and get your product out to the masses. So let's say somebody has 1 million followers and they're actually active, like promoting your product to those 1 million of followers. Yeah, even if you get 10% of that buying your item, then you're onto a winner. So that's why brands love influencers. They pay influencers the big bucks. And yeah, we're just going to kind of give you tips and tricks on how we have got influencers and let you know our story.
We've worked with influencers from when we had our old business, and it's been a roller coaster. We've learnt a lot along the way, and I feel like people have this great perception that if you have influencers on board, then yeah, you're doing exceptionally well, but it's not necessarily like that. In the beginning, we used to reach out to people that we feel is reflective of what we want to sell. And yeah, it's worked quite well for us in the sense that it's created brand awareness for us, made more people know about our brand on a grand scale in terms of internationally. And it's also got us a lot of sales.
It's kind of a combination of everything. I would say definitely, I think direct messaging is good. Don't believe the hype. Everyone reads their direct DMs. Like everyone looks through them. Even if they don't actually open your DM, they scroll through. So you might just be catch someone on a lucky day and they've actually opened your DM. With emailing, I think it's quite more formal, I would say. And I feel like 9 times out of 10, it's if you're going to email, you're going to be in contact with someone's management. Or sometimes people just do that if they're trying to be on a more professional level, because we have been told by some influencers, just send me an email, and that can be a bit disheartening because you're like, okay, but then it follows through in the end anyway. So I would say those are the 2 types of ways to get to influencers. Or
you can also go to events and like try and speak to them. Don't be annoying. Just talk to them if you see them and be like, oh, I've followed you for a while, would love for you to see my pieces. It would help if you either have these things to hand, or you're wearing them, or you've got like a picture or backlog or anything like that on your phone. You can show them the pieces and be like, do you like this? And they'll tell you yes, they'll tell you no, and you can get their contact information. Some are really lovely, some are really friendly, but some are not necessarily friendly, but you just have to kind of gauge the correct way to approach them, whether that's through DM, whether that's through emails, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram. You just have to figure out what is the best way. You can't just have one specific way of contacting influencers. You also have to tailor it to each person. So if you are genuine fans of them, it helps to incorporate things you know about them, whether it's, hi babe, I saw your Instagram video on this, really loved it, blah blah blah. Try and find a way to be relatable to them. Don't just send them a generic
email
hi,
message.
Want to send you my stuff, blah blah. Like, don't just do that. Try and be personable when you are contacting these influencers.
Also, when trying to contact people who you might find are not necessarily as accessible as you'd like, you can try to look at people who are actually linked to them, be it stylists or friends or whoever, and if they have some kind of direct link, you can possibly see if you can go through them just using the same kind of techniques we've messaged. So that might be email or DMs or writing in the comments if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Do not just flock to influencers because they have a huge following.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, not everyone, some people have worked really hard and built up their following. Other people haven't, and they've bought their followers, so it means nothing. What you should do is to either go through their comments and check what type of people is in their comments. So if you're a female brand, men being inside their comments, commenting how sexy they are or love your breasts, love your bum, is not going to help you. You need someone that has really good engagement rates with your target audience.
You want to try and seek out people that embody your brand, because that literally is going to set your items apart from other people. You don't want to be a brand that literally just sends to anyone here and there, because that is how you end up getting a lot of like fluff, as I like to call it, a lot of random people that are trying to become influencers or trying to boost their page to make it seem like they receive stuff, coming to DM you, and really and truly they're not even what you want, and they're not going to do anything beneficial for you. So when seeking out influencers, don't just think, oh, I want to go to this person just because they're popular. You really need to, like she said, do your due diligence, do your research. But yes, you can get people's insights, but people can also Photoshop their insights. They can fake their insights. So it's best to get all the information that you possibly can and then make a decision on it, rather than wasting your time.
Don't be disheartened if somebody gives you a massive price. Sometimes it's like an automated thing. They get hundreds of emails or messages a day, so they're just naturally going to say to you, oh, this is my fee, and don't just be like, oh, no problem, or like walk away from the situation. Try and see if you can negotiate, and again, get a feel for them. Tell them your startup business, and just talk to them and see if you can kind of get some type of discount, or some people's prices is not as much as you may think it's going to be. Ask them if they accept gifting, and if they do, again, don't think that, oh, I've gifted this person something, oh, she's not wearing my stuff, so she's a this. No. At the end of the day, if you gift people stuff, we've spoken to countless influencers face to face, and they've said that when I get gifted stuff, unless I love that thing, I'm going to put that on the back burner of my roster of things that I need to post. So it's both have its pros and cons. You can go down the gifting option, and your products could be amazing, and everyone just wants to just wear your stuff. Or you can, but like I said, it doesn't mean it's going to come straight away. Or you can go down the other option where you're actually paying people.
The point that Eliza made about people sending DMs, so it might be the fluff as she called it. However, you could get people within the DMs that are actually worth your time. But it's just a case of actually doing your due diligence then again and assessing whether they are a good fit for your brand. So even if it's an influencer that you actually like, just because you like them doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually a good fit for your brand. So, you need to constantly be assessing and asking, like, do their followers, does their brand, whatever it is that they represent, does that fit with yours? So, just don't jump at every opportunity, because every opportunity doesn't necessarily mean that it's one that's going to elevate you. And if you are having any kind of partnerships, collaborations, whether there's gifting or paid, there should be looking to elevate your brand.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it needs to be clear and concise. So once your influencers are agreeing to either accepting gifts or to be paid, it needs to be very clear what you expect from them. Whether it's, oh, I'm happy to post up a picture in return for this, your item, or I'm going to do 3 pictures for this paid job. It's going to be posted within the next whatever X amount of weeks, whether it's 3 weeks or 6 weeks, but just try and be realistic, because again, when you put too much pressure on an influencer, if it's one item, I think that's not too much pressure, but if you're expecting them to do 2-3 items within the space of a month, unless you're paying them to do that, you have to be a bit more patient than that, but you need to clearly outline what you expect from them.
Because you don't want to send your stuff to somebody and then all they do is thanks, whatever your brand is, for sending this to me, and it's in their Insta story for like literally 24 hours and the tag is so small. It's small, you can't see anything. So like you have to just kind of be careful with that. I know when sometimes you literally will send messages to people and you will receive nothing back. So then when you do get a response from somebody, you get so excited, sometimes you lose yourself. So it's honestly best to just have even if you just write everything down in your notes, like, okay, so this is going to be my response message when people give me a response, and I will reply back, but I'll tweak it to whoever I'm speaking to, just things like that to make your life easier. And then also just have, in terms of like collaborations where you're going to pay someone, I think it's very important to really have things set out from the get-go, know how much you're willing to pay someone, what you expect from that payment, if they're going to agree to it, what day they're going to post, what time. It's probably good for you should know your customers, and obviously they will know their followers as well. So it's kind of good if you guys can work out a time between yourselves that would mean that more people can get to know about your product and flock more people to your page. Even if you just say you do a post 2 hours before, then somebody posts your stuff, that will flock people to your page. They'll look at the latest picture you've done, and it can all intertwine together. So you have to try and be quite smart, because you don't want to miss the mark on something. For instance, you don't want to get someone to promote something for you and it's out of stock. It's going to be pointless, and you won't even be able to see the full effects of what that influencer could have done. So you have to really be smart about it.
If you see an influencer is always promoting clothes, they're really good, they're really influential, they've made you buy clothes before, that's still not good enough. If your price range of your stuff is £100 plus, and that person's used to selling things like Pretty Little Thing that are 20, maximum 30 price range, just know that that might not necessarily have the same effect. You kind of want to use somebody that is an all-rounder. They can sell expensive things, they can sell cheap things. Whatever they wear, people just want to buy it. So just try and make sure that they fit within your brand identity. If you get them to wear something, it's not far from what they usually wear or what they usually use. It's not, you know, an eyesore on their actual feed. It works well and it just looks organic. The more organic you get them to promote your product, the more influence it will have, the more people will run to your website and actually click and buy those things. So
I wanted to just add with the organic thing that she said, you just don't want to get somebody that's just promoting loads of brands, like because they're doing a cheap promotion and they're just doing one brand after the other. You want someone that's actually taking the time out to incorporate your brand, rather than someone that's just literally posting a hair business, posting a clothing business, posting perfume, posting something else back to back after the other. It kind of loses its touch, even though it might get people to actually click onto your website or click onto your brand. At the end of the day, what you actually want is customer retention and people to actually buy your product. So if that's what you want, you need to be a bit more specific and not get caught up in people doing cheap promos.
To round off, I'm sure people are wondering, but you haven't answered the exact question of how do you get influencers. I would say that your product has to sell for itself, no matter what it is. Whether it's something that's so exclusive people can't get their hands on, whether it's something that's so innovative that has never been sold before. In general, if your stuff is good, it will speak for itself. You won't have to do that too much talking. People will come to you and basically beg you to have your stuff. So that is the best way to say it. That is the reason why we've happened to get so many people wearing our stuff, is because the product is good enough. It speaks for itself. So people want to get it.
I would also just want to add, like, just to give a little trick or tip, is that, you know, everyone, the best time to catch an influencer is when they're on their phone. So if you see somebody has just posted that you want to wear your stuff, 9 times out of 10 they're going to be on the phone for the next 10 minutes. So try to DM them during that time. And I would also say, like how we said in our last video about trying to get your own following up and get more followers and then just more engagement, just try to also have you wearing your stuff on your page, or even if it's not a wearable product, somehow you're talking about your product, or have a highlight with your product, so that when you message people, whether you message people from your personal account or your business account, when they go onto your page, they can see the correlation and they can see there's something about, there's some type of link between you and your brand on your page. We've all heard stories about influencers. I think that the more we've grown in business, the more we have an understanding
Of their
mindset,
their psyche.
of their mindset. And I mean, you know what? Honestly, like she said, some of them are just damn greedy, and literally, you'll DM them, they will respond to you within an instant, and they'll say, yes, I love it, send, and then
send everything.
Yeah, send everything. And this is we're gonna get onto this. So I feel like, yeah. Anyways, I'll tell you that they love it. Send it. You'll send it. You'll even have discussed a bit with them when they're going to post it or how they might post it, and then it's just air. You always send, if you're sending an influencer item, always send it tracked. Do not ever just send it like you're just putting something through the letterbox. No, you need to make sure it's tracked and signed for, because that way at least you know you can actually check if an influencer has received it. Okay, sometimes influencers, just people in general, they miss their delivery, so they might even have forgot about it because their lives are busy. You can be able to DM them and say, do you know what, I saw you missed your delivery, it's waiting for you, blah blah blah. Or some might lie and say they haven't received it, and then when you check it, you have seen it. This is not to bash any influencers as a whole, but it's just that some people do this. So honestly, if you're having a brand, you need to be aware of all the pros and cons, because these are things that we definitely wish we knew. I feel like as time goes on, you start to realize who's genuine and who's not genuine from the responses. So like Valerie said, when they say things like love it, send everything, I feel like, come on, come on, you actually cannot tell me to send you all 7 of my pieces. What people need to understand is that when we send you even that one item, that's money. The amount that we're selling the item, that we're giving to you basically in clothing. So if the item is worth £70, we've just given you £70 for free, for nothing. So please, like, I just think people need to be a bit more considerate. You can't expect us to send you over £500 worth of clothes and you're gonna just take it or give it to your friend.
Just to add as well that, again, you can pay someone and it doesn't mean that you're going to get that money returned directly to you. So just be very aware. Even if you have the capital to pay an influencer at the very start, don't just waste your money going to send it to different. Try out a few. Whoever works, keep them on. Whoever doesn't work, do not continue with them, because all that's going to happen is you'll burn through a load of cash and then you'll feel like, oh, influencers are not worth it, they're not worth the hype. But they are. Some of them are. Some of them are amazing, they're lovely people.
In terms of just influencers and it not necessarily translate into monetary gain, there's so many other different types of gain. So even if that is brand exposure or if that is more followers, you need to bear in mind that just because you're not making the money that you spent back like straight away doesn't mean that it's not coming back to you. So it might be a case of customers are waiting for sales, waiting for new pieces, or just, you know, waiting to be paid. So the fact that you have more followers or more people visiting your website, they're as valuable in a sense than an initial sale. So like, don't be disheartened if, you know, the influencer posts and then the amount that you're expecting back, you don't necessarily get back just straight away, because you could get it back and then even more just with time.
Yeah, and remember, the more they post on their page and their following grows, all it takes is for one of their posts to go viral, people go through their page, see your products that they're wearing or they're using, and then that will get them to your page anyways. So it's very much an area that's like, there are rules and there's like there's a method to the madness, but it's not literally, oh, I pay this influencer today and tomorrow I'm going to get sales the next day. It's not as straightforward as that, and trust me, you'll be surprised. We've had people with 1 million plus followers wear our stuff and not getting us one sale and about 20 followers, and then we've got people that probably have like way less, just like maybe 30 to 100,000 followers, and they've done a madness. So it's very much trial and error.
That's what I was going to add as well. Like, as a small business, don't be disheartened by the big influencers and feel like you can't reach out to them, but at the same time, don't dismiss the micro influencers, because some of these people that have 20,000 followers, you might think that's too small, but the majority of their followers are really engaged and into what that person does. This is why we say research. You have to just see how it goes, because you would actually be surprised it's more the micro influencers that might, you know, have
benefit
more benefit your brand, because they have more of a niche market and niche people that follow them and watch them. So yeah, in terms of the bad things, like with the things that we have kind of discussed previously, we've experienced people take our stuff, say they're going to post it and not post it.
All our stuff.
Yeah, all of it.
All of it.
We've had somebody, remember that girl? Yeah. Shit. Remember, we had someone that took our item, said she loved it, all of that jazz, and then she then received the item and cut it up. Remember she cut the strap.
Oh yeah,
she cut,
this is a back in
this
the
is
day.
when this is not for women's wear, this is when we did Lovely Land. She cut off like 2 of the straps, and then
First of all, she took months.
Yeah, she took ages.
Months. I want to say 6-7 months, and it was always, yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it. The year never came, and when it did come, like she said, it was cut up.
Yeah, so you then edited our item, and then you tagged us in it.
Our product.
Yeah, and then you tagged us in it. We don't sell the item that you've come to create. Like, if you didn't like it in the first place, you should have just said you didn't want it. It's not a school project that you start doing like, I'm gonna do arts and crafts with it, just to keep it for yourself or show to somebody or give to your friends. Because
that's another
people
one.
People love to do that. Like, oh, you've received stuff,
but you've got your friends
and you've put your friend in it. Like, that is so cheeky. And stop it.
Like, your friend to take a good content picture as well. At least then we would have something to post on the page.
Yeah, like
what your friends coming
like if you're gonna do that, be considerate and make sure your friend takes a fire picture and just tags us in it. But be like, come on. That's so cheeky. You can't be doing that.
We've had people that have literally begged us, and if we were mean people, we would put your name underneath right here. But we're not going to do that. This is anonymous.
This is a safe forum.
Oh yeah, it's a safe
for now.
area.
No, I'm joking.
But yeah, we've asked them to do that, and then we've responded to them out of like literally, and that's another thing. If you have a gut feeling that someone is not necessarily the right person for you, they are not the right person for you. Because in the past, I feel like we have, the early stages again, not right now and not within the last couple of months, but we've had people where we feel them, we think, oh, okay, but we're like, should we? Yeah. Then we say, oh, you know what, maybe she might give us a new audience. Let's try her. And we've sent her stuff and nothing. Asked to have you received it, they're double tapping on the comment that you've sent to them as if to say that's a response.
They were responding so much.
They were
and that's what is crazy.
You even sent a message, they were responding.
They were typing before you could even come out of the DM, but now it's crickets. Like, it's mad.
And then when you finally got through to them, it's, I haven't received anything, hence why I haven't posted. Hence. We need to go back. Hence. First of all,
you contacted us.
Yeah.
First of all.
Oh, period. Now. Period.
So when they've contacted it first, why are you getting cheeky? That's the first thing, and then you have to have this business head on you. So honestly, what you do is you come with the facts and you present them with the tracked package saying signed, sealed, and delivered. So when you've given that to them, still air. And this is the type of disrespect we have dealt with in the past.
I want to actually say this point because this is where it just comes into being professional. Whether you're an influencer or a musician or whatever your niche is that you're trying to do, and we are a business, professionalism goes both ways, because this industry of just people in general is small. I think everyone should just try and be as respectful and just honest as possible. I'm telling you from now, if you've taken something from us, you're blacklisted, in my opinion. You are blacklisted. If you've taken something and you have not, you said you was going to wear it and you haven't done it, you're blacklisted. You're blacklisted. You're blacklisted.
Well, you just have to take these things into consideration. There are people like this. You all come across people like this. Even if your stuff is the creme de la creme, the most popping stuff in this century, people are still going to steal your stuff. They just do it. It's part of the business. So don't be confused. Don't go to the blogs. Don't go to Twitter and go and start writing about them, because that's not good.
When you DM'd, and one of us is really back in your corner and the other two is saying, not too sure, then we finally got everyone to agree. And you do us dirty like that when we send you the stuff. But that's just like, we just want to give you a brief thing of the bad. To be honest, the good has been way more than the bad.
Yeah, I would say it's 80% good,
it's been
20% bad.
Maybe even less. Maybe even less. But honestly, it is something that we just have to speak about, because if we didn't speak about it, it would just be completely fake. Because I think a lot of some people have really experienced the bad, and I know it turns them off and puts them off. It can even make you want to just stop doing your business, because you kind of feel like, how am I going to get my brand out there? And I feel like, especially if you're really young, like, don't let dishearten you. Just one negative thing with an influencer. There's so many others
that are great.
Yeah, and that are just nice. Like
they do
really nice ones that try and relate to that person, because sometimes people understand your struggle and they're willing to help you out, even if you don't have a budget. You'd be surprised. So I just think don't be disheartened. That's what I would definitely say.
And just with the bad, I think that it's just the same as with any other part of the business. It's all a learning curve anyway. So if you do come across a bad influencer, you just take the learnings from that situation and just ensure that going forward you're mindful of those things. And yes, sometimes things are happening out of your control, but at least now you know how to pick up on warning signs or telltale signs of people that might give you the runaround.
Yeah. Have an influencer list. We have one. Bearing that we do not run our social medias anymore, we have a list where our PR girl, she basically contacts everyone.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you, boo boo. We have someone that contacts all of our influencers. The only time that we might speak to influencers is if we're messaging them from our personal accounts and we feel like we can reach them. But in terms of on the business front and, you know, emails and stuff like that, it's our PR girl that kind of deals with everything. She'll decide whether or not that works with our brand, relay that information to us if she's a bit unsure, and just for the go ahead.
And I would also say, just ask your friends like who they go to for influencers, like who are the influencers that they would look to if they want to get certain things that relate to your product, because I think that is a good form of market research. Don't always just go with who you think is going to work.
I guess just with also having a list, as well as being able to monitor who's like done a good job for you and who hasn't, you can also ensure that you're not contacting influencers blindly. So there should be some kind of pattern when you're contacting them to ensure that like they are actually working for your brand. So as I said previously, it's not just about looking at who's got the most followers and stuff. It's actually partnerships that are going to elevate your brand. So also you can actually ensure that you're monitoring kind of like, if you work with one person, is it going to hinder you working with someone that, you know, you'd like to work with in the future? You essentially shouldn't really just look at instant gratification. When you're looking at people who are offering things like cheap promotions and stuff, yeah, they might bring you that instant gratification. However, if you're doing that constantly and cheapening your brand, when it comes to working with, you know, whoever that influence is, you don't want to be working with people that if she was to see it later on down the line, is not someone with. So, you know, if you have a bigger plan, ensure that all the little steps that you're doing in the process aren't hindering you getting towards that big plan. Now cut the cameras.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
So guys, that is it. I know she's so happy. Whatever you guys want next, please put it in the comments, and also give this video a thumbs up if you want us to keep going, because we really like that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, tell your mum and all your friends, and yeah, we will see you next time. Bye. But yeah, so
Can I drink on camera?
yeah. Can we just start again?
She wants to be there.
Oh, okay. Hi. This is alright. Final member of the co-founders, which is Valerie, and yeah, so she's here under duress. So yeah,
I might speak, I might not.
she will be. She will be speaking. Hi guys, and this is